Good night, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great time to talk with you guys. I just took a bath and just sort of toned down for the day and decided to have this little discussion on how the world saw metahumans and aliens. And not only in Justice League, but in the entire DCEU. I know I put Justice League there. But we're going to look at why the world saw, aliens and metahumans in a negative light. Now, a lot of people were saying, the world should be happy that there are superheroes in the world and metahumans. Well, let's take a look at that world. And remember, that world is like this world. Just imagine if you know in this world that there's someone who's so powerful, he could just take out a whole nation or a city just like that. Would you be feeling happy and glad to be a part of it? I mean, even the world is wary of super powerful nations like Russia and America. As much as we like, as all of us like America, even Americans, the abuse of power is a real possibility. Right now, sometimes people are afraid that there would be some nuclear fallout between America and North Korea, or America and China, or Russia. It's a real possibility because it feels unstable, because we know how powerful these nations are. Now, if you can just think of one individual being that powerful, that is something for people to be afraid of, especially if they don't know if this person shares their values or not. That was the case with Man of Steel. But here's the interesting thing about Man of Steel. And this is something a lot of people have not taken into account. When this superhero, Superman, revealed himself to the world, it was the same day there was this tremendous amount of destruction. And not only that, but Superman did not really reveal himself to the world. He didn't choose to do that. It was thrust upon him because another alien came in a very aggressive approach to the world and demanded that the world surrender one of its aliens, one of the alien people who was living amongst them. And so it was very scary how Zod's message came across to the world on every single frequency. It was very threatening and very imposing. And that's how Superman came to reveal himself to the world. And it's in that very same day, that very same time, that tremendous amounts of destruction, both in Smallville and also in Metropolis, happened. So while people were glad that this Superman that just came out of nowhere kind of saved them and protected them, there was this negative connotation of aliens, because the very first time the world is hearing about an alien or aliens, there's an invasion. And it's an invasion that was catastrophic. A lot of lives were lost in that invasion. 4,000 people, I do believe. That's what Bruce Wayne said, 4,000. Now, you tell me, how can the world be thinking about aliens in a positive light given that? And so BVS is the fallout, or is the follow-through of that tremendous event, which Bruce Wayne also witnessed. So we saw it from a human perspective, how destructive and how dangerous that was. And while Superman did stop General Zod from invading the Earth, it was quite costly. So that the world was conflicted in many different ways, though they were relieved that a lot of people's lives were saved. The world was conflicted about Superman. It wasn't the world that was just straightforward. People were saying a lot of people hated Superman. Yes, a significant amount of people hated Superman, but there were also a lot of people who loved Superman and what he was doing. And then there was another group of people who were simply wanting to make sure that Superman did not abuse his power, did not just work unilaterally, and that he was accountable. So there was these three classes of people. But even through BVS, while there's the question of Superman, even through BVS, we get negative connotations of aliens. You think of Lex Luthor's thoughts on the metahumans and the metahuman thesis, and what he thinks about these gods among men, that they could be monsters. We get that view from O'Keefe, who thinks that Superman is not a hero, but he's dangerous. We get the views from Bruce Wayne. We get the views from the news, where the people in the news think that, you know, Superman may be collaborating. The lady's like, I didn't hold up and look, all my fingers are up. I didn't point at anybody. And so you get that there's a sentiment out there that Superman is an alien, and therefore he's not one of us, and therefore he's probably aligned with something bad because he's not human. And the impression people have is that aliens are bad because of the last invasion. And so that gets even more reinforced when Doomsday comes on the scene, starts wreaking havoc. Yet another alien, yet another Kryptonian. And so the world is dealing with those consequences, reeling off of those things. And then when we think about Justice League, which follows after BVS, Superman dies, yes, but you see the world having this negative stigma, this negative thought process about aliens. We see it almost immediately after with the terrorists, when they're speaking about this plague of aliens, and that's why they're taking action. We see that the robber, the common thief that Batman has captured to catch the parademon, you hear the thief talk about aliens from outer space. They're coming down, aren't they? The Superman's dead. And you get that negative connotation about aliens. And it keeps on going on and on. Cyborg talking about he's wondering if he's the next alien invasion because he has alien technology in him, and he sees it as something negative. We see the cleaner, the guy, the maintenance man's wife, and she's speaking about aliens abducting her husband and how they're trying to F him, and she's very negative towards the aliens. We see the family that's terrified when they see the parademons, and this is yet another alien attempted invasion. And it's another negative thing that we see in Justice League. But it's not just Justice League. If we look at Suicide Squad, the reaction to the death of Superman is negative towards metahumans, as well as it's negative towards another aliens. And that's why we have the Suicide Squad formed, or Task Force X. They are there to counter mankind, to counter these metahumans and also these aliens. So the world doesn't see metahumans as good, superheroes that is, and they don't necessarily see aliens as good. And this is very consistent throughout even the Justice League movie, Suicide Squad, Batman v Superman, Man of Steel. Okay, Wonder Woman was a separate entity. And so what we find is that it's only at the end of Justice League that heroes are coming out in the open, and there's different views on heroes. The world it hasn't completely accepted them yet, not necessarily. But it's just very interesting that in the DCEU, aliens seem to always be doing something negative. And so the world has a reason to look at these beings as negative. And I just thought I would share that with you guys. The only alien that the world has embraced somewhat is Superman. And now more than ever, he's being embraced. And as Wonder Woman comes out of the shadows, she's a metahuman. And the other metahumans come out of the shadows. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Because on the fringe parts of the world, Aquaman works with mankind. So I just thought that was a very interesting thing. For those of you who have read comic books, at least the ones I read in my time, the world in the DC world always was somewhat skeptical about superheroes. They were always skeptical about them. And if you ever read Kingdom Come, you would see that superheroes learn that they have a role, and it's not that they are to lead out amongst mankind, but they're supposed to assist and help and guide mankind. And Kingdom Come is a very good comic book to read for that reason. And here you see Superman sort of helping out. So I thought this was very interesting. And I wanted to put that in context, because a lot of times people talk about how this world is dark and gloomy, and that's basically our world anyway, where there's not a whole lot of hope and stuff, and that they see superheroes seemingly as bad, and they see, you know, aliens as bad. Well, this is the reason. The first time they see a superhero and the first time they see aliens, negative things happen. Now, the superhero did save the world under some very extreme circumstances, but the point is, there's a lot of bad that happened too, and not necessarily the superhero's fault, but still people are going to blame the superhero for that, and that's what happened. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Hopefully this thing has broadcast. If you have any comments to make, please put them in the comment section on the side. Anything else you want to add? Because I'm very intrigued in everything that you guys may say. So here we are, and okay, nobody's saying anything. So that's pretty much it for my Hangout. If you want to join the Hangout, I'll probably have you guys join the Hangout another time. But for now, it's kind of late in the night. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there to you guys concerning Justice League and concerning why the world saw aliens and also metahumans negatively. And just thought I'd put that out there. I was going to do a video. I'm actually doing a series on that on the real DCEU fans. So that's a group on Facebook. You can check that out if you want. Real DCEU fans. And I also want to discuss more about these movies as we move along. Of course, I said I was going to also discuss Star Wars The Last Jedi, as well as we'll be discussing Black Panther in a few days from now. All right, guys, if you guys have anything else, well, I don't think anybody wants to talk anything else. You guys have a good one. Deuces. I'm out.